Good afternoon, dear participant friends. Today we are to go back to the field of research again. In the last class, we had discussion about introduced riddle, and today we are to discuss about opinionnaire or attitude scale and checklist. Participant friends, we discuss or we started to discuss about the taste and tools of research, and we had discussion about questionnaire and then put all the other tools. And in the last class we discussed about introduced riddle. Well, let us come back to our today's discussion, and the concern or the focal point of today's discussion is opinionnaire, or the other name attitude scale, and checklist as one of the important tools of research, means for the collection of data for the specific two types of research, that is quantitative as well as qualitative. And to understand the concept of opinionnaire, we are to understand the term opinion. And friends, opinion is a term which is frequently being uttered by us, by all, in different situations of life as well as in different social settings. And the term opinion, when we try to explain from the field of research, has diverse meaning. In one sense, it means a personal view, not necessarily based on fact or knowledge. In other sense, opinion is the views of people in general. In another sense, it means a formal statement or advice by an expert. So we have found here three meanings, and these are the meaning, and by explaining the meaning of the term opinion, we can very easily able to understand the concept of opinionnaire. Let us go back to the next slide. The term attitude, because either opinionnaire or attitude scale we are discussing for the collection of research data. So, the term attitude, once we see the origin, we find that it is originated from a Latin term, attitude. And the term attitude means suitability. This way, attitude means a way of thinking, of feeling about someone or something. In other sense, it means informal, self-confident or hostile behavior from psychological point of view. Again, because we are discussing about the tools and uses, tools of research, and at the time of discussing about questionnaire as one of the most important tools of research or attitude scale, by explaining the term attitude, what is meant we have got. Now let us come back to the term scale. And this term has been originated from the Latin term scala. And this term scala means a ladder. Therefore, scale means an ordered range of values forming a system for measuring or grading something. And in other sense, friends, scale is a measuring instrument or tool based on a system for measuring or grading something which has special importance in the field of research. Let us go back to the next slide. This way, Opinionnaire is a special form of inquiry. It is used by educational researchers in specific and in general, the other resources in different fields for the collection of research data in the forms of opinions of the respondents or certain factors or aspects of the research problem investigated by the researcher or the researchers. The opinions on different factors or aspects on a particular research problem under investigation are quantified just after collection or getting analyzed and interpreted or logical summarization and expression so as to report the result of research. Let us go back to the next slide. In practical field of research, opinions and attitudes of research sample have special importance. To term opinion and attitude are allied terms. These are not synonymous. Attitude very simply means the beliefs and feelings of a person. It is the inner feeling which is not very easy to measure. Opinion is the outward expression of the inner feeling. Basically, it gets difficult to measure the inner feeling which are expressed in the forms of beliefs and you say attitude, that is beliefs and feelings. But opinion is the outward expression of the inner beliefs, of the inner feeling, and we can measure opinion very much easily and quantify the collected opinions. For research purpose, such opinions are collected with the help of 3 points. This is a scale particularly for the quantification of the opinions collected in the form of research data. These 3 points are agree, disagree, undecided. Agree either means opinion is expressed at the time of collecting data and it is asked to respond to the respondent whether they agree or disagree. They are to simply specify. So these are the 3 points of specifications. First one, agree, disagree and undecided. After the collection of the opinions, we can quantify the opinions depending on the 5 points scale. That is, agree, strongly agree, disagree, strongly disagree, uncertain. So friends, for the quantification of the opinions, we are to follow, or we can, you see, depend on these 2 specific categories of scales. In first one, there are 3 points of measurement, and in the second scale, 5 points for the measurement of the opinion are here. In such way, the opinionnaire, favorable and unfavorable statements on different issues and aspects of the research problem are used in the form of questions or items. So friends, at the time of discussing about questionnaire and interview schedule, we discuss about items of the questionnaire as well as items of the interview schedule. And here also the question of selecting or including the item has become much important, and all questions are included in the form of items. Let's go back to the next one. Galapagos ballots. It's a specific type of ballots depending on which we can collect the opinions which are used generally, make special provision of using questions instead of statements. So friends, in Gallup poll ballots, statements instead of statements, questions are used. Parallel to the same, public opinion polls is also very much important. Gallup poll ballots and public opinion polls. In Gallup poll ballots, instead of statements, questions are used. And in public opinion poll or polls, which are nowadays used to predict the result of elections beforehand. Now Bihar election is going on, and depending on the public opinion polls, before the declaration of result on 10th of this month, you see the television, in mass media, some types of reports you will see, and such results are, you see, placed before the public depending on public opinion poll. Means before the audience, beforehand the actual declaration of the actual result, depending on the public opinion polls, results are expressed or results are placed. Public opinion polls basically rely on personal context. In such opinion polls, it is not dependent on mail ballots. No question of mail ballots arise here, because the process of gathering opinions with the help of mail ballots is very much time consuming. And for the clarification of your concept concerning to Gallup polls, this explanation is very important. What is Gallup polls? It is originated from the name of the American statistician George H. Gallup. George H. Gallup developed this, you see, scale for the measurement of opinion. Gallup polls mean an assessment of public opinion by the questioning of a representative sample, not by questioning the whole lot of sample or the population. Let us go back to the next one. Opinionnaire is an important research tool. Very easy. This tool is generally used in descriptive type of research. This type of research needs the survey of opinions of sampled individuals for the generalization of an event, situation, or phenomenon in a more logical and accepted manner. There are three procedures which have been used for eliciting responses or opinions and attitudes. How we can take out the opinions in the form of response or responses, and how we can come to know the inner feelings or inner ideas which are expressed in the form of attitudes. The extensively used, you see, these three procedures are Thurston technique of scaled values, the Likert method of summated ratings, and the semantic differential developed by Osgood, Sui, and Tenbow. Means by searching in internet or by searching psychological resource learning, you can come to know about the Thurston technique of scaled value, means about this scale, depending on which we can measure the value of the opinions either, or the Likard method of summated ratings means as a summary we can get the meaning of the opinions by using the Likard method of summated ratings. This is also one of the most important scales for the measurement of opinion, and by studying or searching psychological journal, research journal, we can come to know in details about this scale or semantic differential. This is also another most important scale which was developed by Osgood Sushi and Tannenbaum. So these are the names of the experts who developed all these scales for the measurement of the opinions as well as attitudes, so as to get the meaning, particularly for the for the report or for reporting the result of research. In opinion research, all these three procedures have been used. So when you see in the field of research as the scale of data collection, Opinionnaire or attitude scale is applied, then we have to depend on all these three basic or specific scales for the quantification of the resource data, so as to get the actual meaning in on for reporting the result of our own resource data. You see, according to the speciality of our research problem, in opinion research, all these three procedures have been used. Let us go back to the next slide. Now let us come back to the next, most important tool, that is checklist. Checklist is also one of the most important tools of research. And for understanding of having the clear concept concerning to the research data collection tool means checklist, we have to study or we have to understand the meaning of the term check. First of all, check. We understand very easily what is the meaning of the term check. The term check means examine the accuracy, quality or condition of. Means when we say as I am to check you, it means I am to determine the accuracy or the quality or the condition. And the second term, that is list, is a term which has been originated from a French term, that is listed. List means a number of connected items or names written as a series. This way, checklist is a list which consists of a list of items which a place to check, that is examine the accuracy, that is to examine the accuracy, quality or condition of the collected data. It is an important research tool. The checklist is to collect attention to various aspects of an object or situation or an event. This is its primary purpose or chief purpose or main purpose. So friends, we can, for the collection of research data, depend on the checklist which we are to prepare considering the speciality of our resource problem by studying or analyzing the available resource literature. Because for the preparation of questionnaire either, or for the preparation of interview schedule, for the preparation of opinionnaire scale, or for checklist, we have to always depend on the review of the literature. Means result of the review of the literature. Means we have to study the available resource literature so as to select all the necessary items for the collection of data which do have spatial importance within our own research problem area. Let us go back to the next slide. Checklist. The checklist is a type of questionnaire in the form of a set of categories for the respondent to check. At the time of responding, the respondents are to respond to the checklist items depending on fact, not he or she is to respond depending on his or her judgment. There is the broader perspective of the use of the checklist. As a method of research, the participants in quantitative method are to respond to the probable responses given in the measures like the psychological test, questionnaires, structured interview, etc., about which we have already in detail manner discussed. Let us go back to the next slide. Samples, that is the respondents respond to close-ended items. These responses are given in scaled forms. The responses given in scaled form indicate the strength and magnitude of the response or responses. The samples or the respondent's primary duty is to select by the help of putting tick mark or underline or and circling the appropriate response according to personal choice. The researcher knows the right answers to the items. Therefore, at the time of analysis of the data, the researcher is to put numerical figure against all the choices of the respondents which are elicited using the help of the items which are included in the checklist. Let us go back to the next slide. In brief, the researcher is to put or give a number against each of these choices which are there in the form of using resource items or risk items. Generally, in normal situation, the researcher puts or gives 1 for right answers or response and 0 for wrong response. In the end, the researcher is to calculate the total of all the numerical figures. Thus, means this way, the researcher reaches the ultimate point or arrives at an aggregate score. Sometimes the responses of the respondents are numerically quantified, or properties of the statements in the form of items are converted into numbers or numerical figures so that so that the results may be placed in understandable manner. These figures or numbers were calculated to find out the total of positive and negative response. In such case, for each positive response, number 1 is assigned, and for each negative response, number 0 is assigned, and total of positive and negative responses are counted by using different statistical measures. Let us go back to the next slide. To draw conclusion, the researcher has to interpret the numerical figures depending on the statistical measure or measures. Sometimes the researcher is to compare the scores of different individuals with the scores of a group. Again, sometimes the researcher is to compare the scores of a group with another group or groups comparison. For such activities, certain statistical methods and measures such as measures of central tendency, that is mean, median and mood, measures of variability, that is range, quartile deviation, standard deviation, and in case of group or groups, coefficient of correlation, percentage, graphical representation, etc. are used. The statistical measures help the researcher to quantify the data in a more systematic and lucid way to offer meaningful explanations and make differences in inferences in an expected way, and to report the result of the research. So friends, this much concerning to Opinionnaire or attitude scale as well as checklist which are basically used in the field of research as the tool or tools for the collection of data, and these are basically used in the field of quantitative research, but in qualitative research too, we can depend on Opinionnaire or attitude scale as well as checklist, but no question for the use or for the use of any type or types of statistical measure or measures arise in the field of quantitative research. And simply here, the opinions or the attitudes or feelings are being analyzed and results are reported. So thank you all for today. And these are very much technical. And at the time of studying or for understanding, for making your concept very clear, you are to see all the contents so that you can have better or clear concept concerning to Opinionnaire or attitude scale as well as checklist on the usability of these two basic categories or types of research, tools for the collection of research data. Thank you so much.